Welcome back, viewers. Focus remains on tracking the big story. And right now, in fact, following the Donald Trump statements of a potential halt on the import of the Russian oil by India, sources to, in fact, NewsX have claimed that Indian oil refineries continue to source the oil from Russian suppliers. The supply decisions are guided by price, the grade of the crude oil, investors, logistics, and other economic factors. Remember, India imports as much as 85% of its crude oil from Russia, and it is the world's third largest energy consumer. Meanwhile, the Ministry of External Affairs has given no statement. As far as Donald Trump's claims are concerned, remember earlier the MEA had made it abundantly clear that Russia-India partnership is time tested. And now, in fact, as we speak on the tariffs that have been imposed heavily by the United States President Donald Trump on India, we also have a special guest to speak on what remains to be the fallout of this big announcement. Nandan Unnikrishnan, a distinguished fellow heading Eurasian Studies at the Observer Research Foundation, the ORF, is joining me live on the telecast. Sir, appreciate you joining me live. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
My pleasure. Now we speak of this very subject that we are putting in perspective. What I want to ask you first is that the kind of impact that Donald Trump's tariff tantrums are going to have on the vulnerable sectors, and how much a bearing of it on our economy?
Well, if the sanctions are imposed, because right now they are not yet imposed, if the sanctions are imposed, it will obviously have some kind of impact on our economy, because our economy is very price sensitive. So there will be a certain element of negative impact, but I'm sure the government will take all measures to try and mitigate whatever the impact is.
But if we speak at the statement, of course, now by far the word dead economy has also been said way too many times, and Donald Trump's statement that has been making, Donald Trump himself has been making sharp comments in context to India and Russia. Today, he also welcomed the reports that the state-run refineries in India have halted buying Russian oil. The MEA then gave no clarification on that front, but how significant of an impact can this have on the trade deal, which has been in a limbo for many months now?
Well, there are two elements here. One is, if India wants to comply with the sanctions, then it will have to have sourced by now alternative oil supplies. I am not certain that you can, in such a short span of time, replace the 30 to 40% of imports that Russia's oil constitutes of our total oil imports. So we'll have to wait and see. The government is obviously playing this very close to its chest, so there are really no specifics out in the open. So whatever is being said is, I would say, speculation, and therefore even commenting on the possibility of the trade deal or the impact of these sanctions on the trade deal will depend on what happens when the sanctions are actually imposed.
Absolutely.
And if they are imposed.
If they are imposed. Of course, as we move forward over these statements, it is also important to note the kind of statements now which are being tracked from the White House, and that will also impact a lot on the markets as well. But now let's put the focus back on how India reacted to it. India has made it abundantly clear that we will not take any steps for the national interest. So what aspects, in your opinion, sir, could impact the negotiation to this deal?
Well, obviously, if these sanctions are imposed on India, India will have to react. Again, since we don't know the specifics of what has been negotiated so far and just have some kind of broad understanding, it is difficult to speculate on the immediate and exact impact this will have on the trade deal. But it is important that we arrive at the trade deal. But obviously, India is not going to do that at any cost. India is going to carefully weigh all the pros and cons including the impact of various tariffs as well as sanctions before it comes to a final decision.
All right, sir. In fact, before I let you go, it is also important to throw some light on the fact that now the countries like Bangladesh and Pakistan are among the 50 countries which are having the lower US tariffs than India. So, what does this say in general for the kind of state in which India would see itself economy doing well in the next 5 to 10 years down the line?
Well, part of the reasons the tariffs are lower, that if you looked at the way the tariffs are announced, they are graded. And so countries that have a low level of trade with the United States have a lower tariff and it sort of goes up. So, in a sense, it's reflective. India's trade with the United States is far greater than the trade of Pakistan or Bangladesh or any of our neighbors. So, I would not put too much in store by making these kind of comparisons. I don't think that would be useful. In fact, each country will have to be analyzed separately, in my opinion.
Very much, sir, for being with us live on the telecast. Appreciate your detailed analysis and appreciate you sharing these insights on definitely what happens to be in the Indian economy as the future beholds after the tariffs announcement by the United States. Thank you, sir, for being with us live on the
Thank you
telecast.
for inviting me.
All right, now we